So let's start here. In December of 2020, I uncovered evidence that Pat Rogers of Rogers Motors, Happy Day Corporation, and sitting on the board of Opportunities Unlimited, was working with Tim Kruger of Travelland RV. They had a deal together, Travelland RV and Tim Kruger with Pat Rogers, to install canopies, ARE branded truck canopies from Rogers Motors at Travelland RV for Pat Rogers. Now, the reason why that's important is because Pat Rogers sits on the board of Opportunities Unlimited with Hannah Lidke. Hannah Lidke being the former City of Lewiston City Council President and former employee of Tim Kruger and current owner of Opportunities Unlimited, of which Pat Rogers sits on the board. Now, you take that into account with all the tax liens that I found. So I found these tax liens of tax evasion by Pat Rogers and Travelland RV. I found that out in December, and I reported it to Dennis Schatt the next year in October of 21. And shortly thereafter, Travelland RV got their first state lien. They also got a lien from the Idaho Department of Labor for unpaid wages, unpaid benefits. So then I contacted Dennis Schatt of the Idaho State Tax Commission, and of which they found a few dozen counts of tax evasion until Travelland RV took out a receipt loan from CT Corporate Systems under the lending funder Libertas Funding. Now, they took out close to $150,000 loan to pay off their liens and immediately defaulted on that debt. And they paid off all of these liens up to here. Well, and after that, I started talking with Muriel Gates of the Idaho State Tax Commission and relayed to her all of the other counts of tax evasion and embezzling and tax fraud being performed by Travelland RV employees. Since then, Travelland RV in the end of 24 tried to consolidate with a partner, Premier RV, owned by Eric Joseph Cox up in Moscow, Idaho. Now, when Muriel Gates found out about that, Eric Cox got a tax lien slapped on him for that. But yeah, Travelland RV still has 3 open tax liens that they've been accumulating August, September, October, November. And that's not all. There's this tax evasion by Kevin Munsterman here, all of which he's ended up paying off eventually. But it was specifically after I reported to Muriel Gates of the Idaho State Tax Commission that Kevin Munsterman had a deal with a partner there, Eric Joseph Cox, up in Moscow, Idaho, owner of Premier RV, to sell off his RVs as well. Well, didn't pay any taxes on those either. So that's just a primer of the little bit of information I'm going to share here.